Alright guys, so since checking out the Skullcandy Method 360 ANC earbuds, it's pretty much caused me to want to go down this path of checking out some other Skullcandy products. And again, this is a good thing because I haven't been interested in Skullcandy stuff in quite a while. It really wasn't good for a long time. But today we're going to check out the Skullcandy Icon ANC. Now this is definitely a different looking headphone. And the Icon series has actually come a long way looking at these compared to what they looked like in the past. They actually used to use these flat ear pads that just sat on your ears and it was just completely flat. The overall body was like this cheap plastic. There wasn't really any padding on the headband itself. Not that there needed to be, because these have always been kind of a very portable, on-the-go, lightweight headphone. So the Icon ANC, what they've basically done is the ear pads are still on ear, but it actually has an opening. It's very comparable to like the Beats Solo ear pads. They are pleather ear pads. The headband on the top is a fabric material. There's just enough padding, you know, again, just to kind of keep the plastic off the top of your head. The body on these are definitely more solid. They do fold inward, so you can get them to be very small as far as like the body itself. But you can pick these up, and if you compared them to the original Icons, they are much better built. Now, I'm still not the biggest fan of this loose cable that's right near the headband, and that's mainly because that always just kind of has me worried that these will catch on or hook onto something, and if it pulls it, your headphones are pretty much useless at this point. But the upgrades basically from the original ones, which were only a wired pair of headphones, is these are now wireless with Bluetooth 5.3. They have noise canceling where the original ones didn't. They do have an IPX4 rating, so there is a slight water protection, which makes these pretty good to be able to use if you're going to go for a run, if you're going to go to the gym. It's going to be able to resist sweat and some light rain and splashes and things like that. These do support multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. There are some EQ options within their app. They have some pre-built EQ options in there, but you can also customize the EQ settings the way that you want. They also have the personalized sound where you go through like the hearing test, and it just puts together a basically an EQ that it thinks fits your listening preference. It also supports Spotify Tap, so that you could just tap the button and have it automatically open Spotify and just start playing without having to go into your phone and do anything like that. So again, that's pretty convenient. And all of this, again, is done within their app, which I do believe, in my opinion, from testing all these other headphones and trying their apps, that Skullcandy's app is one of the best out there, even to the point that now Bose has incorporated basically a similar design within their app. So again, I think they definitely are doing something right here. But let's go ahead and move over to talking about that noise canceling. Now, I am going to say this is definitely not the reason to buy these headphones. This is not the best noise canceling out there. It's not even the best noise canceling under $100, because these do come in at $99. The noise canceling is just okay. It's blocking out lower tones like engine noises and AC units to a point. I think it's just there enough to dull out some of the sounds around you. This, again, is not the strength of these headphones, but the awareness mode that these have is actually pretty decent. So if you are going to use these while you're running or riding a bike, it does do a really good job of channeling in a lot of the sounds around you. Now, as far as what all they've included in the box, it does come with like a silky Skullcandy pouch to be able to keep these in. It comes with a 3.5mm headphone cable, because you can use these in wired mode if you want to. And it also comes with the USB-C cable so that you're able to charge these. And speaking of the charging, battery life is pretty decent on these as well. Now, if you use them with the noise canceling turned off, you can get about 60 hours on the headphones. And even with the noise canceling on, it only drops it down to 50 hours on a single charge. So that kind of shows you like the noise canceling is not really doing a whole lot. Because in headphones where the noise canceling is really canceling out a lot of noise, you'll see a bigger drop in the battery life. But if you do happen to pick these headphones up and they are dead, they do support fast charging, where a 10-minute charge will get you about 4 hours of use. And all of these stats and everything that I'm pointing out is very on par with the Beats Solo 4s. And again, I'm going to talk about that again once we get to the sound. But if you are going to use the Icon ANCs for taking phone calls, I think they have pretty decent mics. I think it does a okay job of blocking out your surroundings so that people can just hear your voice on the other end of a call. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a quick mic test using the Skullcandy Icon ANC. I am outdoors. It's not really a windy day. I do hear some noise off to the left. So this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. And again, this is another area where I would compare these to the Beat Solo 4s, but I would say that the Icon ANC actually has a little bit more low end. There's some more punch in the bass with the Icon ANCs. I think as far as clarity in the mids and the treble, they're on par with the Beats, where I think vocals do a really good job of standing out. I'd say the mids are bumped up slightly. So you never have any issues hearing male or female vocalists. This never gets to where it sounds like a muddy or congested headphone. And this kind of goes back to that bass. So even though these have better bass response than the Beat Solos, it is still not this like overpowering bass. So if you're used to with Skullcandy, especially in the Crusher series, having that, overwhelming bass or that, really thick punch in the low end, that's not what the Icon ANCs have. It does have impact, but it's quick. It's ready to move on to the next hit. It's not sitting around or being lazy. So, kind of go into that. Don't go into this thinking this is a bass heavy headphone. But when it comes to the treble has a nice shine to it. It is not bright. It's not like over the top. It's not one of those where the details are going to be overwhelming. Again, I think this is to keep these from having that ear fatigue. So it's a pretty well, I'm not going to say balanced, but it's pretty well controlled overall. Now, when it comes to the sound stage and the sound imaging, this is not a very open sounding headphone. It's not one of those that makes you feel like you're in a concert hall. I would still say it's almost like being in a medium to large size room, but they do still do a pretty good job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion is this: if you're already looking at the Beat Solo 4s, which come in, I believe, even on sale at $129, the Icon ANC is cheaper. And I do feel like they sound better. And with this pair, you're actually getting noise canceling, even though it's not the best out there under $100. And the battery life is on par with the Beat Solo 4s already. So again, I just feel like the Icon ANC is the better buy. Now, I'm not saying that this is the best headphone that you can get under $100. I definitely think there's some better options out there from, Soundcore, Soundpeats, Earfun, Edifier. There's a lot of brands we can go down the list. But these are on ear. They're lighter, they're smaller profile, they are different than those other ones that are all over the ear headphones. So if you're looking for something different, you're looking for something with noise canceling and some really good sound under $100, again, I think, Skullcandy is kind of on the right path of, I wouldn't say a rebrand, but going a different route with the sound of their product. So I would recommend these at that $99 price tag. Skullcandy stuff goes on sale all the time, so maybe you'll be able to pick them up for $79. But yeah, I would give these my recommendation. But guys, that's my video on the Skullcandy Icon ANC. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.